Ever since its launch almost a decade back, the R15 has been the benchmark performance bike for beginners in India. It offered a great balance of pricing, performance and dynamics. Additionally, the super sport styling made it a hit among youngsters. KTM, on the other hand though, knows quite a bit about performance, but it doesn't have a beginners friendly per se motorcycle in its portfolio. KTM wants to change that with the 125 Duke. So can the R15 hold on to its crown, or are we in for a surprise? So let us start this comparo with performance. The R15 really has the advantage when it comes to numbers. It makes 5 PS more power, has 3 Nm extra torque, and not to forget is 6 kg lighter as well. And as expected, it's quicker off the line as well. In our road test, the R15 did the 0 to 60 run 2 seconds quicker than the KTM. And the 0 to 100 run, wait for it, it was 6 seconds quicker than the KTM. So as expected, the R15 wins the battle of performance. But how are these bikes in the real world conditions? Let's find out. The KTM has a very narrow power band coming at the very top of its rev range, which means even in the city, you gotta rev the nuts off it to get a move on. Even overtakes require pre-planning and you need to downshift a couple of gears if you want to pass traffic in a hurry. The R15 used to have similarly peaky power delivery characteristics in the past, but in the V3, thanks to variable valve actuation, Yamaha has been able to improve not only the top end performance but the bottom end too. So in the urban environment, the R15 feels much easier to ride with adequate torque on tap for quick overtakes. On the highway, the 125 Duke has no problems cruising between 70 to 80 km per hour, but move the speeds into triple digits and the motor's lack of power really becomes apparent. Here again, the R15 manages much better cruise speeds on open roads. You might believe that the smaller Duke motor would be very refined, and for the most part, it is. But at higher speeds, the tiny motor has to work really hard and vibes can be felt at the foot pegs, handlebars and the tank. The R15 is equally refined as the baby KTM, but at the same higher speeds, it feels a lot smoother as the engine is relatively stress-free. When it comes to fuel efficiency, both the bikes return almost similar numbers in our test cycle. But if both the bikes were to be ridden hard, we believe the R15 will come out on top. Speaking about handling, the R15 has always been the benchmark bike in its segment, and the version 3 carries forward that legacy. The Delta box frame though on the new motorcycle is similar to the version 2. This isn't a bad thing as the chassis is very communicative and gives the rider a lot of confidence. Yamaha engineers have made the rake angle sharper on the new motorcycle. This has made the front a bit too reactive, and this can get a bit scary for newer riders. Also, the R15 has a shorter wheelbase and is lighter than the KTM, and this makes it more flickable around back-to-back corners. Adding to the handling dynamics of the motorcycle is the optional Metzeler rear tyre as seen on a media bike. The KTM 125 Duke with its trellis frame and better suspension parts feels as good as the R15 on the twisting mountain roads. The steering though needs a bit more effort. On a positive note, the KTM feels much more relaxed and calmer around corners than the R15. In city, the KTM feels the nimbler of the two, and you can squeeze your way past tight gaps in traffic easily. The R15 also isn't a slouch, but the wide mirror means that it occupies more space on the road. Another aspect going against the R15 is its wide turning radius, especially while taking U-turns. With respect to braking, the R15 has an upper hand as the braking hardware on the Yamaha feels more progressive and precise. While the Yamaha we tested wasn't equipped with ABS, Yamaha has launched the R15 with a dual channel ABS unit, and the Rs 12,000 premium should be worth it. The 125 Duke features a single channel ABS, but we think they should have been a dual channel unit from the get-go.
So talking about riding ergonomics, I'm 5'10" and the R15 definitely has the more aggressive riding posture of the two. The low set clip-on handlebars, rear set foot pegs mean that you have a sporty and crouch riding posture. Now this is good on the racetrack, but on day-to-day use, it will load up your wrist and your shoulder. And when you're riding like this, it also kind of puts a strain on your neck. And if you have a large waistline like yours truly, then you should definitely stay away from the R15. The flat and wide handlebar means that the KTM has a proper street fighter stance and your upper body is much more upright and relaxed. However, the foot peg position could have been better because it's neither center set or rear set. Also, the saddle can be a bit cramped for hefty riders. And the seat cushioning itself is very hard, which means touring on this bike won't be a comfortable proposition. So as you can see, both these motorcycles aren't good touring options. If I had to pick one among the two, I'll go for the KTM just because of its upright riding stance.
Talking about pillion comfort, both these bikes don't score highly on this aspect. The R15's pillion seat has slightly more space, but then again, getting onto the bike takes effort owing to its tall height. Also, there's no grab rail, which makes life even more difficult. On the KTM, the pillion requires comparatively lesser effort to hop on, and it does even have the benefit of grab rails. But the small seat means that the pillion might feel cramped, and the seat is hard too, which means sitting at the back might just be a pain in the wrong place. While the KTM has a better suspension hardware, it does run a bit stiff. The R15 in comparison feels flusher and so manages bad roads better. Styling is another place where both these motorcycles differ drastically. The 125 Duke's design has been around for quite a while now, yet it still manages to look quite attractive. But there is no denying the appeal of a fully fed sport bike. Here, the R15 looks like a proper scaled down R6, but the Yamaha does lose out on quality. The crude welds, coarse finish on the handlebars and the uneven panel gaps is very un-Yamaha. It is even more disappointing since the R15 was the benchmark for quality in its segment. The 125 Duke on the other hand looks much better put together, barring for a few visible wires. Both the bikes get a fully digital instrument cluster, and the R15's unit is less cluttered and is easier to read on the move. The LED headlights on the R15 do offer a better spread than the 125 Duke, but it lacks the intensity and reach of the KTM's headlight, making the 125 Duke win this battle clearly.
The KTM 125 Duke is a better beginner's bike, and it is also one of the most refined KTMs on sale in India. However, there is one big problem. It doesn't feel like a true blue KTM, or should I say a true orange KTM. It lacks the punch and ferocity that one associates the KTM brand with. Yes, it does make the KTM brand more accessible, but there is a high possibility that a new rider might outgrow the bike soon. And this is where the R15 scores big time. It has the power to thrill, and the slightly edgy nature means that it will keep the rider more engaged. Yes, a newbie rider will take some time to adjust to the nature of the bike, but then again he or she will also learn more from the bike as well. So, does the R15 justify its Rs 20,000 premium? And the answer is an absolute yes, and the R15 retains its crown.